So therefore the next one is the center of gravity, and then we go hips and then feet to work down, and then when we work up, we go spine and then hands and then finally maybe the neck. But we always start with the highest thing on the chain. So what we're going to do is bring this down. We're going to use the head to line it up in the reference. Don't worry that it's forward. That's because there is neck rotation. You can see here in the reference there is neck rotation moving forward. And we're going to do that later on. But for now, just look at the pelvis here and try to get it pretty much where we need it. And notice at 24 we get a keyframe. We also get one at 0. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, now we've got that there. This process I'm about to show you, we have to consistently do this for the rest of this animation. We have to make sure that frames 0 and 24 match exactly the same as our reference. 0 and 24 match in the reference, and it's the same for our animation here. So what we do is we select the keyframe on the timeline, we hold down Shift, and we drag it to 0. And you can see now there's no difference at all between those two keyframes. I'm going to do the same thing and shift and drag that to 12. As the walk cycle goes through left and right steps, the center of gravity comes back to exactly where it was at the start at frame 12. So let's continue on a little bit. I'm going to go to frame 6 now and just halve the distance there. And you can notice in the reference that it's leaning over to the left, and we need to do that same thing. So I'm leaning it over to the left, probably about there. And it also has to come up. You can see the head height here. So let's bring it up and match it, probably about there. Looks pretty good. And let's fine tune it. What we're never going to do with this center of gravity is rotate it, and you'll notice I've locked those so you can't actually rotate it. But what's very important is that you do not move it forward or backwards. We're only moving left and right and up and down with this center of gravity. We do not sway forwards and backwards while we walk in a standard walk cycle. So just, that looks pretty good. Now we'll halve this distance again. We're going to 18, and what we're doing here is pretty much the exact opposite to what we just did. And we're going to swing this one over to the right this time, probably about there. And you can see that we're getting this sort of V shape. Now if I go to 3 and halve that distance again, this is the point where the walk is at its lowest in the cycle. So I'm moving that down and just try to make sure that we're lined up in the front view as well. And I'm going to go to 9, and this is where we're at our highest in the keyframe. Don't worry too much that the feet might disconnect from the legs. We're going to fix that shortly. Just